Read the passage below and answer the questions that follow. Make sure you're annotating while you read. Date with Rachmaninov. A date with Rachmaninov. Jason watched the clock closely. He could hear the quiet ticks ring out in the silence of the house. The long hand was about to hit 6, meaning that his piano teacher should be coming up his driveway at any minute. He, of course, was already sitting on the piano bench with his fingers poised delicately on the black and white keys. This would happen every day at 5:25 p.m., because he could barely wait the 5 minutes until his teacher arrived. "Jason, Miss Cynthia is here," his mom called out from her upstairs office. She had the perfect vantage point from there and could see his teacher's car pulling up. Just on time, he thought. Jason liked everything to go according to plan. Routine was a dear friend of the dedicated piano student. The two always started with scales. Jason hardly had to think while getting his fingers warmed up. He had grown used to his fingers traveling up and down the keys. Miss Cynthia called it habit memory, something she said she had learned in anthropology class when she was in college. A man named Paul Connerton had written about the term, Jason remembered, and it meant that your body retained certain knowledge without having to think about it. Just like the way you remember how to ride a bike, even if you don't do it for a while, Miss Cynthia had explained to Jason. So as he performed the scales on the piano, Jason thought about Mr. Connerton. "Today we will be tackling a new piece," Mrs. Cynthia said to him on that sunny afternoon. "This one is hard, but with a lot of practice, one day you'll master it," she said, pulling out a piece of sheet music. She placed it in front of Jason. He noticed that it was well used, with tiny tears on the sides of the pages and yellowed age spots. On the top he read, "Piano Concert No. 1, Rachmaninov." Beneath, he could see a swarm of black notes that played out in a frenzy. Although Jason could sight read, meaning that he could easily read the music notes on the sheet and play from them, he knew that this would be a tough one. Miss Cynthia noticed his bewildered expression. "Don't worry, we'll practice it bit by bit." As he drove his car down Amsterdam Avenue in New York City, Jason thought of that day when he first sat down with the composer Rachmaninoff. At least that's what it felt like to him, like meeting the famous musician personally. He fumbled through the first couple pages with Miss Cynthia before they called it quits for the day, but he still felt like he got to know the late 19th century composer. Lost in his memory, Jason almost missed the red light that shone through the heavy rain. He stepped on the brakes, and the car skidded to a halt. He checked his watch. Almost 5:30. He grew frustrated at the light. He hated being late. But he was nearly at his destination. The hands on his watch displayed 5:21 as he climbed out into the rain after he had parked. He ran into the building, umbrella in hand, careful not to step in any puddles. Once he entered the revolving glass doors, the doorman greeted him. "Good morning, Mr. Moran," he said, as Jason smoothed out his suit. Jason nodded back and continued, weaving through an elegant hallway. He took a deep breath before he pushed through 2 large black doors. He looked at his watch one last time. 5:30, right on the dot. The lights of Avery Fisher Hall shone brightly on the stage, illuminating the members of the New York Philharmonic Orchestra. Jason calmly walked over to his piano, nestled behind the musicians who were quietly cleaning their instruments before rehearsal in the famous Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts. On the schedule tonight was Rachmaninoff's Piano Concert No. 1. Jason thought of Miss Cynthia one last time before the conductor raised his hands to signal the start of the piece. You're going to pause the video right here and write your genre-based thinking job. If you need to go back and listen to the video again, you can rewind and listen to the passage. When you're ready, you can push play and we'll start on the questions. Right, if you need to listen to the question twice, you can always rewind. Make sure you're pausing after you listen to the question so you can use your testing strategies. Number 1, what does paragraph 5 suggest about Jason's character? A, Jason gets frustrated easily. B, playing music helps Jason feel connected to others. C, Jason often gets nervous before he gives a big performance. D, Jason values practice because he knows it will help him become a great musician. Number 2. Reread the following sentence from paragraph 2. Just on time, he thought. Jason liked everything to go according to plan. Routine was a dear friend of the dedicated piano student. Based on the way the author uses the words dear friend, the sentence means A. To Jason, routine is a valued part of his life. B. Being on time is more important to Jason than being a good pianist. C. Jason is focused on piano playing and therefore doesn't have many friends. D. Jason's piano teacher is a good friend to Jason. 3. Which detail best reflects the main reason why Jason remembers Miss Cynthia? A. The long hand was about to hit 6, meaning that his piano teacher should be coming up his driveway at any minute. Paragraph 1. B. The two always started with scales. Jason hardly had to think while getting his fingers warmed up. He had grown used to his fingers traveling up and down the keys. Paragraph 3. C. Miss Cynthia called it habit memory, something she said she had learned in anthropology class when she was in college. Paragraph 3. D. Today we will be tackling a new piece, Miss Cynthia said to him on that sunny afternoon. This one is hard, but with a lot of practice, one day you'll master it, she said, pulling out a piece of sheet music. Paragraph 4. Number 4. What detail from paragraph 1 best indicates how Jason feels about playing the piano? A. Jason watched the clock closely. B. He could hear the quiet ticks ring out in the silence of the house. C. The long hand was about to hit 6, meaning that his piano teacher should be coming up his driveway at any minute. D. This would happen every day at 5:25 p.m. because he could barely wait the 5 minutes until his teacher arrived. Number 5. How does the story told in paragraphs 1 through 4 relate to paragraphs 5 through 7? A. Paragraphs 1 through 4 explain an event that comes before the events in paragraphs 5 through 7. B. Paragraphs 1 through 4 contrast with information in paragraphs 5 through 7. C. Paragraphs 1 through 4 represent a problem that is solved in paragraphs 5 through 7. D. Paragraphs 1 through 4 provide details that summarize the events in paragraphs 5 through 7. If you need to go back and answer any of those questions or check over your answers, I highly suggest listening to them again. If you're having trouble finding it in the video, you can also raise your hand and one of your teachers will come over and read the question for you. All right, number 6. This is the last part of your test. The directions say, answer the following questions related to the passage titled Date with Rachmaninoff. In the story, A Date with Rachmaninoff, what theme is supported by paragraphs 4 and 8? Use 2 details from the story to support your response. I'm going to read that question one more time. Remember, you're going to write a full paragraph with evidence and all of the other things you've talked about with Miss Arnold to answer this question. Here's the question one more time. In the story, A Date with Rachmaninoff, what theme is supported by paragraphs 4 and 8? Use 2 details from the story to support your response. You can pause the video right now and write your answer on these lines on your paper. Good luck!